Okay, kids, Ham and Cheese back here with you again today. And up on the bench today, what you see here in front of you is a homebrew signal tracer. And before I explain everything here, I'm going to lay a quick disclaimer on this video. I've noticed in some videos as of late, some of mine and some of others, that people complain about long intros drawn out to stuff. So what I'm going to tell you is this. In this channel, one of the reasons why we do what we do is to help beginners and those who are inexperienced find their way through this vast, endless rabbit hole that we call amateur radio and electronics. Okay? So when we do these long lead-ins, it's to help those people. Now, we know, too, that experienced folks watch this. We have a lot of people who have been seasoned operators and stuff watching. And I get that maybe you don't quite like that. But please just be patient, because those folks who are here to learn are trying to do so. And even with the other channels, just be kind to each other on there, okay? People are out here to learn, and that's all we're trying to do, is help people learn and grow and be better. So there's my ham and cheese PSA rant of the day. Let's go ahead and get into this thing. All right. So if you're not familiar with one of these, what these are for is for the purpose of diagnosing and finding faults in receivers. You can use it for things like this pocket transistor radio, which we'll take a look at here in a minute. You can use it for the audio end of an HF receiver. You can use it to diagnose faults in the RF side as well, incoming signal. You can use these for guitar amps. You can use them for all kinds of things. This is one of the most versatile tools that you didn't know you needed in your toolbox, basically. Okay? So if you're doing any type of repair and diagnostic work, a signal tracer is an absolute must. Now, you can go out and get commercial ones, and I'll put a couple pictures in here for you so you can see what some of those look like. But you can also roll your own, and that's what we've done here. And when we did this, we really did this with minimal investment and minimal parts. Everything you see here, including these two speakers, ran us a grand total of about $13 altogether. Okay? With the most important or most expensive parts being these individual components that we got from DigiKey. Okay? We'll go ahead and zoom in there a little bit. So this is what we're looking at for the core components of it and price-wise. Everything else was kind of spare parts or things that we got cheap on Amazon. All right. So we'll break down price here real quick just to give you an idea. Logitech speakers, I had those. This probe here, this is just a multimeter probe. We got a pair of, along with a whole bunch of test leads on Amazon for like $3. The boards, a 50-pack of boards was, I think, $6. So did the math on that. It's not much. The cable, spare parts. And we went with the barrel connection because this Logitech speaker has a 3.5 millimeter jack already. And then the individual parts we had to purchase were this capacitors, which we'll talk about all that in a second, the diodes, and the resistor. All right, so let's take a quick look at this thing, and we'll go over it in detail here. So this is the drawing and the layout of what this is about. I'll get in there just a little bit more. Very, very simple design, and this is designed on a stereo circuit. This gives you a wider range of things that you can do. So right here, this is your probe coming in. That's this guy right here, your probe. And we stop first at a 220 picofarad disc capacitor. So when you look at it on the board, we're coming in, and this is our first stop right here, the 220 disc capacitor. From there, we jump down, which is this jumper wire right here, to a 1N34A germanium diode with the direction going this way. And then from there, we come back across to this 1N34A. And in that 1N34A, the second 220 picofarad and the 47K ohm resistor all tie together in one spot. So this kind of all ties together right here. And then from the second 220 right here, we branch off again, which is what we did with this wire here. And then we jump into our alligator clip lead, which is our grounding point, okay? So, like I said, for this, 147k ohm at 1/4 watt, two 220 picofarad ceramic disc capacitors, and two 1N34A germanium diodes. All right, now let's have a learning moment here for a second, and let's talk about these little dots that you see on here. So when you're looking at a schematic, if you're new to this or you're looking at a diagram on how to build something, anytime you see these dots, this indicates an intersection. So we intersect the first 220 and the first 1N34A, and they come together here, and then they drop down and go this way. And then these three connect over here. That's why they all come together. When you see that dot, that means you have the intersection. If it's laying across like this and there's no dot, that's just a pass-by or a passing circuit, if you will. Okay? All right. So the last part of this thing that we need to talk about before we go ahead and do the testing on it is you need a speaker to go with, and that's why we have the Logitech speakers. And for this particular unit, you need a powered speaker. Now, it can be AC or DC powered. It doesn't matter which. In this case, we use AC power, and you'll see that when we bring it in for the test portion here. But you have to power your speaker because this isn't a powered circuit, okay? And we'll give you a quick look here at the bottom of how this all comes together as well. So this is the first circuit coming in. Jumper wire to our 220 picofarad, that's our first one. This drops down to our 1N34A. And then from here it comes across. Our 1N34A would be right here. I left the leg long on this so I could space it out. And this one here is our intersection for the 220, the 1N34A, and the 47K, which is going this way on the board. And then this last part popping off is just a wire coming out there as well. Okay? And there it is on the back side. So the only other thing we didn't talk about on this is the E, the A, and the B. So if you had a plug like this guy right here, this would be your E, this would be your B, and this would be your A. So E, B, and A. But in our case, we're using the barrel plug, and we ohmed it out when we put it together, and we found it that way. This is a stereo 3.5 millimeter plug. All right. Okay, let's go ahead and get into the test mode here. Okay, so we've gone ahead and we've connected to our speakers. They're powered up, as you can see the light there, ready to go. We're going to go ahead and make the connections to the board now and probe the board to see if we can find the faults, if you will. Now, when you go to do this, most times in the service manuals, they will tell you where your test points would be on these boards, okay? But being that this is the Sony Japan SX100, which is a knockoff of a Sony, there is no schematic for it to tell us that. So we can do a little bit of detective work here, and we can take a look at this board ourselves to make some determinations. So tuning capacitor, which if you know basic electronics, you know that. Right here, this is our detector circuit. This is our first transistor. These are our detector and oscillator diodes going in. And then that comes out around here. This is going to be our first stage IF, if you would, even though we have no IF cans on here. And then that comes back around, and then this is your audio output. So this is your RF side, this is your AF side. And this is where our audio driver is on this. We did recap here. We put 2 new caps in. This one was fine, so we left it. But it's a very simple circuit and diagram. So we're going to go ahead and test it out a little bit now. And to show you that the radio is in fact working, we'll just pull out here a little bit for a second. We're just going to tune up a little bit. And you can hear we do have sound in the speaker, but it's very faint just because of the way this thing is. There we have a little bit of tunage, hopefully. Okay. We'll use that as our probing section. Okay. So now, all we have to do is hook up the signal tracer to the chassis now. And to do that, we're just going to simply use our test lead. And this goes to ground. And the easiest way to do that, right here. Negative terminal. And now we'll go ahead and start the probing process. And we're going to start up here. This is our detector circuit coming in. And we'll probe it a little bit. And you can hear the sound change in the speaker. So we know that it's coming in, and it'll come in low, and it'll go out high. Come in low, go out high. So we know that section's working. This is going into our first stage IF here. And then this is going into our audio out. So this is the bottom side of a resistor, which we should hear noise on. And then this is our audio driver, and that's why you hear that loud sound. Now, like I said, normally we would find test points in a schematic, but we don't have that. But it's such a simple circuit, it's easy to locate. So one more time, we'll go from the top. This is our detector coming in. Small sound. Big sound. Nothing, because there shouldn't be. This is going into the IF stage. And this would be our in and our out. And then this starts into the audio driver portion here. So a little bit louder. And then big loud, which is what you should expect on a working circuit. All right. So there it is. The cheap and easy homebrew signal generator. If you liked what you saw here, make sure you tell 2 friends. If you didn't, let me know directly, and we'll work to make it better. And if you saw something that we could have improved upon with it, let us know that as well. I will probably put this into some type of case at some point using like a pill bottle or something like that, one of the long ones. But the short end of it is, there it is. Very simple design. Takes about 10 minutes to put together and gives you exactly what you need. You can drive this thing all day long, no problem. All right. Thanks for watching, 7-3, and remember to keep it cheap and easy, just like me.